Today I'm sharing with you the 2 things that will change everything for you. But before we dive in, I want to celebrate with you. Today is episode 700 on my podcast, Mind Over Matter, and 2 weeks post my 8-year anniversary of corporate sobriety. What I want to celebrate with you is, number 1, I am just evidence. I am showing you what's possible when you go all in on you, when you bet on you, when you follow those intuitive nudges, when you overcome self-doubt and procrastination and fear of failure and imposter syndrome. This is what's possible for you. I get to do this. I am living my life by design rather than by default in autopilot, and that's what I want to share with you. So today we're going to deep dive what I believe to be the 2 most powerful things that you need in order to master your reality and master self so that you can live a fulfilling life. These 2 things, now I am sharing these with you that have literally taken me years and thousands of hours to test and experiment with and perfect. And I want to save you time so that you can get from wherever you're at, living by default, and create the change that you seek so you can start living your life by design. The first thing that we're going to dive into, number 1, is creating a morning ritual. Now, I am very intentionally using the word ritual and not routine, because what word can you derive from the word routine? Rut. And that's what happens with most people, that things become so automatic, so autopilot, that you kind of plateau and you're just going through the motions. A ritual is an intentional practice. So let's dive in, and I'm going to share with you my 4-step morning ritual I have been practicing for years, and I believe less is more. So my morning ritual that I use is mind. And I'm going to share with you what each of these letters mean. And I want you to do what works for you. But any successful person, anybody in personal development and podcasting will tell you the power of a morning routine. Why? Your morning routine, what you do first thing in the morning, sets the tone for your entire day. So let me share with you what life looked like before I implemented this, before I was doing this. When I worked my 9 to 5, my alarm would go off and I would hit snooze 2 to 3 times, roll out of bed, shower, rush to get ready, sit in traffic, and normally be 5 minutes late for work. And it was rinse, wash, repeat. I dreaded Monday. I cheered on Friday, week in and week out. My life was very predictable. But now I live very intentionally. So rather than the autopilot and hitting snooze and rolling out of bed, I'm getting out of bed. Number 1, I have a very clear vision. I have a strong why. And I know the difference in going through autopilot by default and living by design. And I don't want to fall back to the old ways. So let's dive in. My 4 steps. And again, I believe less is more, but to each their own. Figure out what works for you. I tried Robin Sharma's 5 a.m. club, and I'm just to the point now, I let my body wake myself up, which is normally around 6 a.m. I also once interviewed a podcast guest that, no joke, this is serious. He had a 28-step morning routine in an Excel spreadsheet. Now, what I've created, these 4 steps, I can do anywhere. Even if I'm feeling off, of course I'm human, I have off days, or I'm traveling, I can still implement these 4 things to set the tone of my day. So the first step, the mind, for me is all about meditation and movement. And here's what that looks like for me. Now, the reason I do meditation, I'm actually going to give you a second acronym for this. The reason I do meditation, when I really understood Dr. Joe Dispenza's teachings, which I'm telling you, I intellectually got it, brain and heart coherence, clear intention, elevated emotion on how to manifest. I intellectually understood it, but I didn't embody it and truly get it at that deep, fundamental soul level. So nothing in my life was really changing. So the power of meditation, I think of it as, I'm going to write it over here. I think of it as my morning fit. So just like going to the gym, We're very used to working out our body, right? We understand the importance of being hydrated and working out our body, but even more important, having that mental fitness, doing your inner size. So the part of meditation and movement, let me further explain my morning fit, which really stands for my frequency, identity, training. And I'm going to get further into what this really means, frequency, identity, training, in my second principle. But right now, I just want you to understand, when you are focused on your energetic body, your mental, emotional state first. So I want you to think about this as energy first. When you do this first thing, so that's why I do meditation, to get in the right energy, to be very intentional with what I'm doing. And then I go and get movement, because when I fill up my cup first, I can then show up authentically and powerfully for my clients and for creating content, whatever else I might be doing that day. But these are non-negotiables. I do every single morning. Meditation first thing to get my energy, my headspace, and then I get movement. Why? Because it's the frequency identity training. Again, I'm gonna deep dive this in the second principle. This is all about setting a clear intention. So for example, if you have a really important meeting that day, how you wanna show up for that meeting, or for a phone call, or for me today creating content, I set a very clear intention. I wanted to create this powerful 700th episode, sharing the 2 things that completely transform my life, so you could do it too. So setting a clear intention for your day. N is all about, I express gratitude for a new day. And gratitude is so powerful here. Why? Number 1, you woke up today. Don't take any moment of your life for granted. But living in an attitude of gratitude is an elevated emotional state, and based on your energy and frequency, which I will get into, what you put out, you get back. So when you are living in a state of gratitude, I woke up to yet another day, then you will experience more things to be grateful for. And D, this is the big one, about deciding who I'm going to show up as. Deciding who. How am I going to show up today? What thoughts do I want to have? What emotions do I want to feel? And what actions am I going to take in alignment with where I'm going? So this is really, number 1, you have to know your vision, your why, where you're going, and more importantly, who you need to be in order to have the reality that you want. So let me summarize all of this so you really understand the power of these morning rituals, a morning routine, an intentional practice for your frequency identity training. Again, just using this acronym MIND, meditation, movement, I'm setting a clear intention. I express gratitude. I woke up and decide who I want to be. This doesn't take a lot of effort. I can do this on the road. I can dial it back if I'm just not totally feeling it, but at least I'm being intentional with my energy and my vision. So here's what I offer you. Take what resonates from this, find your own morning practice. Some of my clients just like to journal. Some of them love the meditation, like they wouldn't skip it. It could be reading a manifesto. Again, this is all about subconscious mind reprogramming, but no matter what you do, it's simply about being intentional with your mental, emotional state so that you're taking aligned action, moving you forward, moving you in the direction. And this is how you live your life by design and not default when I used to hit snooze, roll out of bed, rinse, wash, repeat. So this next one, I'm going to deep dive. Now that we've set the tone for the day, you have a powerful morning routine, I want to now walk you through this piece that literally has taken me years to truly understand, not intellectually, but the embodiment of it. This is the missing piece that most people aren't implementing and applying, and why they stay stuck. Why maybe you take 2 steps forward and 2 steps back. So I really want to deep dive this next principle, it's an acronym because I love acronyms if you haven't figured that out yet, because I want to really give you the tools and the techniques you need in order to get from where you are to where you want to be. Before I dive in to this next principle that will completely transform your life, here's what I want to offer you. If you want to fast track where you are to that next level you, living in that financial abundance, having the love that you seek and the health and the success, and you don't want it to take years and thousands of hours like it did for me, I do provide one-on-one coaching. I will include a link below, but you can also visit my website, heatherhakes.com, and apply. So let's dive in. This next framework that I want to share with you that literally changed everything for me when I truly understood it, but more importantly, applied it, is my framework, what I call EMBODI. And I'm going to explain each of these to you, but this is what it really comes down to, and I can't emphasize this enough. It comes down to embodiment. Change is not intellectual. This idea of identity shifting can't stay in your conscious mind. So actually, before we deep dive this, let me just share a little bit about mental programming so you understand, as an example, why affirmations on their own do not work. Affirmations are 5% of the picture. So let me just draw this diagram for you. The idea of embodiment. This is you. Your conscious mind is 5% of the picture. So for example, you might desire financial freedom, a lover, a successful business, a healthier body. You might want that, which is great. At least you have some clarity. But that's only 5% of your mental emotional state, going against 95% of your operating system, the subconscious mind. So the rest of this down here, 95% running the show, driving all of your behaviors, driving your belief system, is the subconscious mind. And this is why everything you desire comes down to an identity shift. What I like to think of reinventing yourself. It's version 2.0. What I coach my clients to on how to create next level you. It literally is a death of the old self, because you have to upgrade your operating system. You have to upgrade your identity, which is driving your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. So now that you understand kind of the idea of mental programming, I want to bring in identity before we deep dive this EMBODI framework. So your identity, how you show up as, also known as like your self-image. Neville Goddard describes it as your self-concept. But what it really comes down to, there's 3 pieces that create every result in your life. And it's your identity. And your identity is how you see yourself, but it's also how you show up. And your identity is made up of these. It's your habitual thoughts. It's your emotional states. And it's your habits, the actions or inactions you take. So I'm going to share with you real world example on how I had to understand all this, create next level me in order to show up now 700 episodes, but in order to coach my clients through, not theory, not knowledge, but through experience. So let me share with you what my life used to look like, how I was showing up, and how I created version 2.0, and then we're going to deep dive this EMBODI framework. I want you to do this too. I'm literally giving you free coaching, so I highly recommend you follow along and do this with me. So my identity back in 2017 when I quit corporate, I was excited and I was inspired, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing, which led to pay attention to my identity. So here I am going from employee to entrepreneur. And you can input anything here that works for you. Maybe you're going from lack, scarcity mindset to abundance. Maybe you're going from single to in a loving relationship. You're going from unhealthy to healthy. Whatever it is, I just want you to get clear. What's your current identity? Where are you at? So we have a baseline. We know where we're starting. This is where awareness comes in. You have to be self-aware. And then we have to get really clear on that next level you, and this is the gap. Where you are to that next level you, and I want to help you close the gap, which is what I'm going to walk you through. So here I was, employee to entrepreneur. However, because I didn't know what I was doing. And I took a huge leap of faith to bet on me, but now I'm in the unknown. I'm out of my comfort zone in the unknown, which led to conscious mind wanting to be a successful entrepreneur. But my subconscious was full of self-doubt, which led to procrastination. And procrastination is really just disguised. It's fear. We're not taking action because maybe you fear failure. And I felt like an imposter, right? So I'm comparing myself to Tony Robbins and other people who've been in the industry for decades, and I'm on like day one. So I have this clear vision. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to have impact and income and help other people who feel stuck. But I am showing up as an identity, somebody full of self-doubt, procrastination, and feeling like an imposter. So hopefully you could see that all of this negative thinking and emotions kept me in a very low vibe state, creating $0 in my bank account. And this is why no matter where you're currently at, this next level you, broken, struggling, and in lack, single, wherever you're currently at, get clear on who you want to be. So that's exactly what I did and how I created my framework on creating version 2.0, what I walk my clients through. So what's the opposite of where you're currently at? I had to become really confident. Can you still? Okay. I had to become confident. And this is where, like, I had to create a really strong why. What was my vision? What was my motivation? What was my purpose in showing up wanting to coach others? So I had to become confident. I had to become consistent. And I had to have self-belief, but really it's more about conviction. Conviction is where it's at. So here's where I want you to see that these two identities, somebody in self-doubt, procrastination, and feeling like an imposter, fear of failure, feeling unworthy, is going to create unwanted results. However, somebody with the identity who's confident, consistent, and has conviction is going to have wanted results. And that's why your identity is everything. Your identity, and much of this is the subconscious, is driving the show. It's driving your behaviors. As within, so without. This is a hermetic principle. So somebody with this identity, seeing yourself as abundant, seeing yourself as worthy, seeing yourself as capable and enough, is going to then have high vibe emotions, is going to be taking aligned actions, creating wanted results. So this is identity shifting 101 and what it really comes down to. So now, because so much of this is intellectual, it's now in your conscious mind. Maybe you get it, but how? How do you close the gap? Because that part, that is not an intellectual process. That's the embodiment. So let's get into it. Again, I highly recommend take notes while I'm going through this. If you have questions, drop them below in the description box. I'm happy to answer them, or obviously contact me directly. And I'd love to work with you to help save you time and money. All right, let's get into this embodiment practice. Because now that you have your morning ritual, your morning routine, you're setting the tone for the day, you understand the identity, who you want to become, how do you do it? What is the application part of that, right? And the analogy I like to give is, for example, I think of myself as a personal trainer for your mind. Knowledge alone is not power, and that's a big myth in personal development. Knowledge is power. No, it's not. Knowledge is potential power. What it really comes down to is application and implementation. For example, let's talk about health. You can learn about nutrition, you can learn about workouts, but does that alone make you healthier? Does it make you stronger? No. You need to get in the gym or on the pavement and be doing the reps. You need to be taking action, applying what you learn. So let's deep dive this. Let's get into my embodied framework so that you have the full steps. The first one is I kind of touched on the idea of the morning routine, setting the tone for the day, is energy first before you take action. Because a lot of times you might be manic manifesting, taking action, thinking you need to do something, but that's coming from a very low vibe state, which is actually going to repel what you want. So the first step here is energy first. And this is that mental, emotional state, creating that confidence first. Because when you're in the right energy, now it's like you're taking action from a flow state, not a manic manifesting state. So the first step before you ever take action is really aligning your energy, the mental, emotional state. Now in neuroscience, if you want to deep dive that a little bit, this is what we call brain and heart coherence. It's getting your mind, mental, emotional states in alignment, in harmony. Because we live in an energetic universe. What you broadcast, you experience. So when you are in alignment, when you are in coherence, you are thinking and feeling confident, capable, and you are taking aligned action. Watch out, because you become unstoppable. The second one is about matching the frequency. Here's where I want to get into a little bit of quantum physics, because this is a big part of what I teach, is understanding quantum physics, understanding the energetic universe that we live in. So this is where I want to bring in Nikola Tesla's infamous quote. If you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, vibration. Here's what I want you to know at a high level, because I've done a lot of content around this. You're welcome to watch other videos about quantum physics 101, but understanding frequency. So let me underline this. You are an energetic being, and science tells us that your heart, so think about this as the emotional piece, your heart creates and emits an electromagnetic field 5,000 times more powerful than your brain. So let me show you this. You as an identity, as an individual, so this is the brain, right? These are your thoughts. And your emotions, this is the heart. When you have these in sync, when you have these working together, you emit a very clear signal. So for example, let's say, if we're coming back to frequency, let's say something that you desire, money, a lover, success, or health. It's on one frequency. So think of a radio station. Let's say the thing you desire is on the frequency 101.1. But your current frequency, remember when I was talking about identity, when I was in self-doubt and feeling like an imposter and procrastination, let's say that frequency was like real low. But for easy numbers, let's just say like 85.7. So if I'm at 85.7, but the desired reality is 101.1, you can see there's a gap, right? And it's a frequency gap. It's how you are showing up. It's what you are emitting. So what I mean here by matching the frequency, understand that the desired reality you want, and it doesn't matter what that condition is. Think of it as a potential, a possibility in the quantum field. Whatever it is that you want has a frequency, because we live in an energetic universe, and you emit a frequency based on your thoughts and emotions. That's why you have to first have internal alignment. You first have to have aligned energy in order to match the frequency. So here, as I shared with you that idea of identity shifting, I had to move from 85.7 to 101.1, because when I am thinking and feeling and taking actions as the version 2.0 of me, that next level me, I am now emitting a 101.1 frequency. I'm trying to make this as simple as possible. Just understand how you are showing up. Your identity emits a frequency, and everything you desire has a frequency. When those frequencies match, and how do you do that? I'm going to get into that. But when they match, then the synchronicities, the serendipities, and the coincidences, the resources you need come to you. Or you might have that intuitive nudge to go take action, to go work remote, and then you happen to meet somebody. So the how and the when it comes to manifesting, never your job. This is your job. Energy first, and to match the frequency. Now, the next big part I want to share here is what I call, you have to have belief beyond logic. Why? Belief beyond logic creates certainty. Because the big thing here that we have to override is doubt. And because if you're emitting a frequency, and this is what happens for most people, this is where most people trip up and don't create change in your life. You might want something, but you doubt it. You might want something, but you feel frustrated. You might want something, but you're feeling impatient. That creates internal resistance. You're sending out a weak signal. You're static. Remember, whatever you broadcast, you experience. So when your mind and emotions are not in alignment, you send out a weak signal and you can't create the reality that you want. That's why these two are important. But now when you have belief beyond logic, you have created certainty that desired reality is inevitable. You are sending out such a strong signal that reality has no choice but for you to experience it. Now this next one, also crucial. O is what I call own the identity. Why? Because remember, identity is how you're showing up. Identity is what you're emitting. And when you own the identity, the next thing I want to bring in line with the idea of certainty is conviction. So remember, my version 2.0, that old identity of self-doubt and imposter and procrastinating surely didn't have certainty, and I definitely didn't have conviction because I was comparing myself to other people. But when I show up as somebody who is confident and I have a clear vision and I am certain and I have conviction in my identity, now this has become who I am. This is not fake it till you make it. It's embody it. Now you understand the framework. It's embody it until you experience it. So this is crucial. All these 6 steps are crucial, but I just want you to see how they build upon one another. What you emit, you will experience. So let's get down to D. This is about declaring it done. The reason I say that is when you declare it's done, when you know beyond logic that lover is yours, that the success is yours, that the abundance is yours. When you declare it done, that solidifies. And when you can maintain, and this is what the embodiment really comes down to. You can't have a great morning meditation and then by lunch be full of doubt and falling back, defaulting to that old identity. When you can maintain and sustain because you have declared it done, that is how quickly, this is how you can collapse time, but that's how quickly things can happen because you have certainty, conviction, and you know it's done. This is a deep knowing. I'm actually going to write that here. So declaring it done is knowing. This isn't about hoping. It's not even about trusting or having faith. It is a deep knowing. Finally, I. And this is what it all comes down to. You can't do this once, right? You can't go to the gym one time and do bicep curls and be set for life and strong. This is about what I call integrate daily with intention. This is what it comes down to. In order to have what 99% of people don't have, you have to do what 99% of people won't do, which is be consistent, embrace failure, be able to self-regulate, have this identity piece in play, and be able to master your mental emotional states. I don't want this to be complicated because it's not. Yes, it might be difficult at first, but it's literally just building your mental muscle. Think about this as inner size. Anything you started at first was, quote, difficult because you're new to it. But when you put all of this into play, when you show up consistently for yourself, you are now owning that identity. You have certainty, you have conviction, and you know what's done. This is what the 1%ers are doing, and this is what you have access to do. This is how you master reality. Now, here's what I want to do to sum all this up. Number one, I highly recommend coming back through, watching this again, because I dropped a lot of wisdom. Remember, this has taken me years and thousands of hours to not only understand, but to implement, to experiment with, but most importantly, to embody. And I promise you, when you put these into play, when you have that identity piece, when you maintain and sustain it, you literally become unlimited and unstoppable. Thanks for tuning in to today's video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you're the first to know when new videos drop. And give me a thumbs up. I'll catch you on the next one.